We have been on the loop for 6 months now, and today we figured we'd sit down with you guys and just reflect on things that we expected or did not expect that are happening. So we've made a list, and every now and then we want to sprinkle in some videos where we sit real time and chat about our reflections.
This is what we did when we were planning for the loop, was I devoured any kind of content that people were putting out there. So we have a list, and we're just going to go through. They're in no particular order. But the first one is, we thought we would be swimming a lot more, like jumping off the boat. I think I brought 4 swimsuits, and not even kidding, we've jumped off the boat one time, and that was 2 days ago.
Yeah, the water is not always the cleanest where we're at.
No.
Which is funny though, because we grew up in the muddy Mississippi, like
And
water
we
skiing and
swam
stepping
in
in
there, yeah.
mud that goes up to your knee. But yeah, we just don't jump in the water as much. I think it's like this is our home, not just a day of boating. So
That's so true.
you get dirty, and then you got to shower and cook dinner, and so we just haven't really swam a lot. But now that we're in Canada and the water's super clear,
We're really excited about our Canadian summer.
feels good to jump in.
Another reason that we haven't jumped in a lot and gone swimming goes into our next one, which is because it's been a lot colder than we had expected. We expected to be wearing this all the time, but from when we left in February to now, it's been chilly.
Yeah.
Like, we've worn sweatshirts, at least like a sweatshirt on the top, 90% of the time.
Which was our goal. You know, we don't have air conditioning on this boat.
Yeah.
Which a lot of the time is fine. Some days it's a little bit more miserable. But yeah, we are trying to chase the right
Sunny and 75
Yeah.
weather is what we've been trying to chase.
And for the most part, I think it's been totally fine.
This one is a little bit of a cliche, but it's important to talk about, and that is how the people are truly what make your experience. We have met not only other loopers that are amazing, but in the restaurants and the marinas and the shopping that we've done, in all of the people that we've met, you almost remember places based on who you've met there, and your memories are associated with who you've made them with.
I expected to make, lifelong friends or good connections, and the reality is that's true.
Yes.
We expected to really get frustrated with hand washing everything all the time in a small sink. We don't have a dishwasher, not many boats do, and it's been fine. The reality is we don't dirty a lot of dishes because we're cooking in a small space. It's just us two. There have been plenty of times where we have entertained, but I expected to get pretty annoyed with it, and I'm not.
So for anybody that's boat shopping, and if you're considering a dishwasher, honestly, you'd be better off having a clothing washer than a dishwasher. Don't waste your time with that. But going off of that, we went into the loop not even considering having an ice maker, and then we were gifted one.
Man,
Evan is obsessed with it.
Ice water with a squeeze of lemon is like can cure cancer after a hot long day or a headache or bashing into waves, whatever it is. You sit down with this and it's just
so we did not expect
it's a luxury
to ever have an ice maker, and we really love it. It's a luxury. I expected to plan like a week or 2 in advance. There'd be days where we were dreaming and planning of our loop, and I was kind of like mapping out our stops and this and that, which in retrospect was such a waste of time.
Carly's a huge planner, and I feel like the loop has really taught her. You've done a really good job with it. She's always, picking in anchorages, looking at areas to take Ripley, where we're going to be when and the time. But you don't need to plan more than 1 or 2 days ahead at all.
No.
It's consistently changing, and you can have like a broad sense, but do not go into the nitty-gritty on the daily. There's some great loop full itineraries, like day 1 to 365 days. Like you don't know where you're gonna go, and we don't have sails, but we go where the wind blows us. So. For instance, we just came to this anchorage this morning. We could have left, 5:30 a.m. or 5:30 p.m. We didn't know. You look at the weather. Is it going to be windier one morning or in the afternoon? What meetings do I have? What's Carly's schedule like? It's constantly changing. There's no need to plan super far out.
Yeah. Well, you just mentioned something that brings us into our next one. It's hard. Looping is hard work. And I'm not saying that as a complaint. We are so blessed and we worked hard to get here. But yeah, there's a lot of planning that goes into it, and it can be exhausting. Not only the planning, but the actual days of cruising. Even, you add a dog into that. So that's one. And then another expectation was that it would be easy to manage working while looping, and while we have, I think, done an amazing job of that, it's been tough. And I do not recommend two people having full-time jobs, like 9 to 5 corporate.
Yeah, if you're very rigid with your schedule, it would be difficult. There's totally people that do it, so it's not impossible. But having some flexibility, for instance, with my work, I'm very blessed that my manager, like if we're stuck in some bad weather one morning, say we got up at sunrise, we planned it to take 2 hours, I was going to be on, ready to do some stuff, and it took an hour and a half longer. She didn't feel comfortable driving, so I needed to step in. To have that hour or two flexibility is pretty important on the loop, I would say. I expected weather to be, important, but not to the point where it drives every decision.
Not as important as it has ended up
Yeah, I
being.
expected to look at it, to have 1-2 apps, but it's pretty important.
It's very important.
Even though it's the loop and we're not crossing an ocean and there's not always a ton of exposed water, there is definitely a lot of big open water.
Yeah.
Where you need to understand the forecast and reading wind models, comparing them. It's going to make it way more enjoyable. I did not expect to weather some bad weather, and of course you're going to. I'm naive. I should have expected that, but yeah, we've been on anchorages where big storms rolled in. Like, we got dumped on in Cumberland Island. You're not always going to time it right. You might...
It's unavoidable sometimes.
Yeah, you will have them, so just have faith that our boat's 40 years old. It's been in a lot of storms.
Yeah. Which brings us into our next one. These have actually been going along nicely. We expected to anchor a lot. We did not expect how much that would really impact and really make our loop. So my tip would be to get comfortable with anchoring, because some of our favorite moments, our favorite places have been from anchoring and have been in places that we've anchored. And even in this spot where we're at right now, we're in a town harbor, I can see some of the tall buildings, but then on this side it's all beautiful greenery and a shoreline, and you just are going to have some of the most unique and individual experiences when you anchor.
I would challenge people who don't plan on anchoring to do it at least once a month or once per state minimum.
Yeah.
We do it a lot.
Yeah.
But I
think that's a good goal, once a month or once per state, for sure.
Yeah, I think it's so great out here.
Yeah, it's awesome.
It's awesome.
That boat's coming by right now.
I expected to get on the AGLCA website and utilize their resources, because it's great. They've done a good job with it.
They have.
But the harbor host, wow, they are awesome. We've shipped packages. We've had rides to the airport. We've had rides to the grocery. We've had rides to refill propane. Man,
we've been personally reached out to by harbor hosts,
it's
just
been
welcoming us.
Super great.
So utilize your harbor hosts.
Yeah, the reality is they signed up because they want to hear your stories. They want to see you when you pass by.
They want to help you. I don't know if you expected this or not. I did not.
Yeah. So the next one on the list is we expected to fill up, fuel a lot. We're a motorboat. It's constantly running.
You're going
We're
6,000 miles
fuel.
in total. Yeah.
But the reality is we have not really filled up that much. And I think for the boats that have really big tanks, you won't be filling up as much as you think. The amount of times. Now, it has nothing to do with budget.
Or price. Yeah.
I think we're on track for that. But yeah, I thought we would be topping off here and there or pulling in to get fuel, but
I thought we'd be doing it every other week.
Yeah, no.
It has not been that. It's been once a month.
Yeah, you burn 30 gallons an hour. Okay, you're moving fast, burning fuel. We just sip fuel. I mean, this boat does have 1,000 nautical mile range, so theoretically, we'd fill up 6 times
Theoretically,
on the whole loop.
Yeah.
Which, if you do it in 12 months, that's every other month.
Yeah. But even though we do cruise at an economical speed, I didn't realize how much 2 knots of speed can do.
Yeah, I expected to be okay with going 6 knots, and I'm certainly okay with it. It's boat's taking us on our journey.
And it's economical.
But the reality is I wish we had a little bit faster boat, just because it cuts your weather windows down so much.
Yeah.
Like a 40-mile day is like what we typically max out at now. We could do 50, we've done 60, but like those are long 12-hour days, and if you could go 8 knots or 10 knots,
the jump from 6 knots to 8 knots is much bigger than you think.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have Evan take this second to last one because when we were at the rendezvous in Norfolk, Virginia, I was on the outside greeting people doing the looper crawls, and Evan was on the inside. And when we talked after the crawl, I was so surprised to hear that this was his number one question he was asked.
Yeah, so I got asked a lot. Do you use the inside helm? Do you need 2 helms?
Does it just take up space?
Yeah, there's a lot of Carvers, Meridians, those power boats, and they only have 1 helm. And I expected to drive up top probably 90% of the time. I think that's where I was expecting. But the reality is we are driving probably 50-50 right now. I love to drive up top.
We prefer to drive up top.
Yeah, and it's super enjoyable, but we move when it's cold, it's windy, it's raining. Balancing work, being able to have Ripley with us at all times. With the locks, we drove down here the whole time, and I just don't think I expected that.
Yeah.
But I was driving downstairs for all the locks, and
on the Erie.
It made it easy for holding the ropes and dealing with fenders and everything.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a change.
From what we expected. And the last one is we did not expect to need good foul weather gear, good rain gear. We both just have a raincoat, and if I were to change anything in our planning, I would have budgeted and invested in a good full rain suit.
Yeah, I did not expect to have, full-blown foul weather gear. You think of it, okay, I'm crossing an ocean, I'm going to be out in a sailboat cockpit in the sun and elements. I'm going to get really good Gore-Tex, Helly Hansen, Rundins, whatever you want gear. Yeah, we just have Patagonia,
REI stuff. Yeah.
Rain jackets, and reality is they suck if you really need it. They're good from your car to the front of the grocery store or from class to class, but we're anchored, we're in the dinghy,
we have a dog,
it's wet, no matter what, we gotta go outside, and if it's downpouring, we really need the really good gear. So the reality is, even just the little Great Loop we're on, inland waters, good foul weather gear.
Don't underestimate it. Yep.
Yeah.
So that is our list of some of the expectations we had and some of the realities we have faced. If you have any questions at all, or if there's anything that you thought of from this video, please leave us a comment. I try to respond to a lot of them when you ask questions, and I love reading any of your positive comments.
Yeah, this is something I'd love to hear from current loopers and loopers that are finished. If they're watching, we would love to see what you expected versus what's actually the reality. So I think a fun way to cap this video off is we're sitting in Canada. We just celebrated Canada Day, and I'd love to hear from any Canadian friends out there that what should we expect going into the Trent Severn, Georgian Bay, and the North Channel over the next 2 months.
Yeah, that's good.
Because the reality is that we have really high hopes.
Yes, we do.
Man. So yeah. With that, thanks for sticking to the end.
Love you. Bye.